Hello everybody and welcome to the IELTS Grind for another live stream today with me, Phil. And the plan today is to go through and do grind for another live stream and to go through and do a few mock speaking tests. So if you're interested in joining me today to do a mock speaking test, you can just come into the live chat here of this video and you can click on the pinned comment. Alternatively, you can go into the description of the video and you should find the link there as well. So we've got a few different speaking tests to go through today, and it is going to be first come first served, but hopefully we'll have a few newer people today. So if you've never done a practice speaking test for the IELTS, this is a great opportunity to do that. If you're not too sure what sort of band score you're at the moment, I intend to give everyone an estimated band score as well as some feedback. So feel free to join me today and I'll be starting up that Zoom call very shortly. So let's see who we've got already in the chat. So I can see a few people there. So I can see Nav, hello. We've got Maria, how are you doing today? Shibam as well, hi. And what I'll do is start up that Zoom call in just a moment. Just remember, if you're interested in joining us for live streams in the future, you can just come to the IELTSgrind.com website and click on the live stream schedule and all the information should be there. And we've got all the information listed down here. So as you can see, this evening, Friday, it's me, and tomorrow it looks like it could be me as well. Okay, so let's get started. So if I launch the Zoom call and we'll see who joins me first. Okay, so the Zoom call is live. Feel free to join me on that as soon as you're able to. And we'll just do a few tests to see if it all works. So if you can hear me in the Zoom, I've got Nav. Just say hello. Let's check your mic. See if you're able to collect. So it looks like you're not able to connect to the audio just yet. See if you're able to collect. So it looks like you're not able to connect to the audio just yet. Just have another go, Nav, if you can hear me. Just have another go, Nav, if you can hear me. Okay, give you a few more seconds, and if not, perhaps we'll try again later on. Give you a few more seconds, and if not, perhaps we'll try again later on. Okay, it seems like we're having a bit of a technical issue there with Nav. Okay, so what I recommend you do is just reboot your computer or something like that. Let's see that. So we've got a few other people waiting. So let's see who we've got. So remember, we've only got a couple of mock speaking tests today. So if you haven't done a mock speaking test before, this is a great opportunity. Okay, so mic test. Can you hear me? Okay, so mic test. Can you hear me? Okay, I think the sound's working okay on my end. So I'm just going to try one more time. Get this going. Okay. No, okay. Well, in that case, let me see if I can get someone else to join in the Zoom call. Hello. How are you today?
You again.
Good, good. Okay.
Phil?
Yeah.
It looks like we can't hear you on YouTube.
You're not able to hear me on YouTube?
Yeah, everyone can't hear you.
You're not able to hear me on YouTube? Oh, that's very strange. It's coming through okay for me. Are you able to hear me through Zoom though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's have a mic text. Can you hear me okay in the YouTube live? Raghav, I think you said that you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's working now. Okay. That's fine. Right, well, I think what we'll do then is we can go through a couple of questions. How does that sound? And we'll see if... Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if anyone else wants to join, perhaps for a full test later on. So what are you feeling like doing today? Are you more into part 1? Fancy part 3, part 2? How do you feel?
Could I have a part 2 with some questions in part 3? Is that okay, sir?
Yeah, okay, so let's do that. So what we can do is we'll jump ahead to the part 2, this version here. And, okay, so this one, so I would like you to describe a style of architecture that you like, okay? And I'll give you the normal 1 minute to prepare, and then I'll ask you to talk for 2 minutes on this topic. How does that sound?
Excuse me, can you give me some examples of style of architecture?
Yeah, so, I mean, there are styles such as Gothic, so this is a popular style in Europe, or Baroque, but to be honest, if you're not a huge fan of architecture, you can just talk about any type of building. You don't have to be an expert. You just need to talk about buildings, really. So whatever you want to say is perfectly fine, as long as you're talking about buildings, style of buildings. Okay? So let me give you a minute to think about what you want to say, and then I'll ask you to start talking. So here is your minute now. Okay. So just before we start, let me just respond to a message. So Nav, if you can hear me, you should check your settings in your Zoom because you may have not selected the right microphone or something like that. Just try changing your settings and we'll try again later. Okay, so back to the part 2. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to talk about that and you can start talking now.
Okay, so there are, nowadays there are many kinds of architecture that already comes out, and the one that I want to mention to everybody today is skyscraper, which is like really common and well known in my country and also worldwide. Well, actually, skyscrapers, which means that it can reach the sky. The sky is by far the most high-tech building that I've ever seen, and it is a product of creativity and motivation. So everyone like it. Well, as I mentioned before, this type of building is really prevalent, and it is regarded as an iconic symbol of my country. So there are a bunch of places we can find this style. Well, maybe in the city or even in a tranquil countryside, everybody can see it. And for the reason why I really adore that style is that it is a really motivated and cutting edge of technology, and it is really modern and suitable for teenagers as me, and I'm really passionate about modern things. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I think what we'll do is let me give you a little bit of feedback for part 2 and then I'll ask you a couple of part 3 questions. Okay, just why it's fresh in my memory. So I really like how you're using some really high level vocabulary all the time. You mentioned these skyscrapers being prevalent and being iconic styles or iconic buildings, we can say. Great words: prevalent, iconic. And you mentioned sort of like cutting edge technology, latest technology, but you mentioned that skyscrapers were kind of motivated. I don't know if we can describe a building as motivated. You can describe a person as motivated. You might talk about them being, yes, high level, latest technology, cutting edge, but you might mention how they can perhaps motivate people in their life, perhaps. But maybe that's how you would use that phrase. Yeah. And just watch out for the pronunciation of these types of buildings. So it's sky scraper, to scrape, skyscraper. Do you want to have a go for that? Skyscraper.
Skyscraper.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. So just when you were saying it in the flow of your little speech there, you weren't quite getting the right sound, but skyscraper is the word we want. Yeah. Or high-rise buildings, high-rise apartments, etc. And just remember that there is a countable noun. So one skyscraper is high-tech, 2 skyscrapers are high-tech. So just watch out for the grammar with that. And just the last thing, at the end, when you're talking about similar people to yourself, you wouldn't say it's good for teenagers as me, I would say it's good for teenagers such as me.
Okay.
I would use it like that, yeah. But overall, good. I mean, technically, we could say that skyscraper is a type of building, but you could talk about, if you're going to talk about this in terms of architecture, you could say, you could perhaps compare skyscrapers in New York City and skyscrapers in Vietnam. So the ones in Vietnam are very modern, whereas the ones in New York City, they're Art Deco. So Art Deco would be a type of architecture. It's a style. So perhaps you can just do a little bit of research into different styles of architecture, and then you can make a comparison. This would be the easiest way to do it. Okay, let's have a few questions from part 3.
I remember that at first I intended to say innovative. Yeah. So.
Okay. That would make a lot more sense. Innovative. Yeah. Okay, but you said motivated instead. Never mind. Okay, so let's go through a couple of questions from part 3, and then I will open up it to somebody else. Okay, so let's talk about exams. Some say exams are not the best way to test a student's progress. What do you think? Why correct that?
Well, actually, I totally disagree with that opinion, because, well, in my perspective, exams or tests are by far the best way to evaluate a student's progress, because it is something like, for example, if the student should seriously learn from the lecture, and of course they can definitely pass the exams, yeah. But if the student is crazy and don't care, ignore the lessons, so they might fail. And for those examples, I think, well, exams are the best way, the most effective way to.
So you mentioned that exams are the most effective way to test a student. Why then is there a move towards other types of ways to test a student's progress? Why are people rocking the boat? Did you catch that? Are you still
Pardon
with me?
No. Pardon me?
So, you mentioned that exams are the best way to test a student's progress. Why then are people looking for alternative ways to test a student's progress?
It is a really tough question. So please give me a minute to think about it.
Of course, yeah. Just while you're thinking, Raghav, to rock the boat means to change the status quo. It means to go against what is normal, what is accepted, what is comfortable to everyone. To rock the boat.
Okay.
You happy?
I can answer it now.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, even though I mentioned that the exams are by far the most effective way, but it is not totally, perfect. Well, in my opinion, there is some aspects that exams can be bad. For example, if a student is studying for exams, they might really under stressed and feel really nervous and anxious, which can harm their health. And yeah, people are looking for alternative ways to to test students' progress, and I think that is great. But as I mentioned, it is not totally good as well. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so obviously the examiner is always going to ask follow-up questions. So this is why we practice this, to get used to it. Yeah. So
Thanks a lot.
that's okay. So yeah, obviously, as I said before, people don't progress, overnight. But I was talking to Michael about you, Maria, and we both agree that you've been putting in a lot of hard work, and you're definitely improving as you go. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure that you'll get the score that you want. So yeah, it's always good to come and practice.
I really appreciate all of you. Yeah, both of you.
Well, no, we appreciate you. If you didn't join us, no one would be watching us. So we appreciate you and everyone else who's watching. So, but what I'll do is perhaps I'll say goodbye now and open it up to anyone else who would like to join me. But of course,
have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. And I will be talking to you again very soon. Okay, enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay.
Yeah, see you next week.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so feel free if you want to have a bit of a practice today. We'll be going for at least until 9 p.m. for my time. At least another 40 minutes, depending how many people are interested. And we'll see if we can get anyone who has not done a full test before. Otherwise, we can do a bit of practice for everyone else. So let's have a go. See if we can get anyone else joining. So just while we're waiting for the next person, see if it works. So obviously one of the most difficult things about the test is it's not in your first language. So this is why it's good to practice like this. You don't have to be afraid of making mistakes, because even Band 9 students make mistakes, because natives make mistakes when they speak their own language. It's because we have to think, we have to put ideas together. So by just practicing like this, you're going to improve your fluency. You can try things out, because at the end of the day, the examiner's just doing a job, and they don't really care if you make a mistake. So this is why it's good just to get over that fear. And that's what we're trying to do every Friday night if we can. Help people out, work on our fluency. Okay. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you today?
Oh, great. I'm doing good.
Good. So, remind me, have we spoken before? I can't remember.
Yes, we did
Oh,
about
we did.
a month ago.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, I felt like I recognised the voice a little, the name rather, a little bit. Okay, so how are you feeling today? Would you like to do a practice of a particular part of the exam, or are you feeling like you want to do the whole thing?
It would be great if I can do the whole thing.
Why not? Okay, so let's jump in and we'll take one of these tests from the start. Okay, so first of all, let me just set up my timer to try and keep it in the right time. Okay, so off we go. So let's begin by talking about your hometown. Have there been any changes in your neighbourhood in the past 10 years?
Ooh, this first question is tough. I think there might be. There might have been because I have only been living in my current neighborhood for the past 2 years, so I don't know about its image in the 10 years ago. But I would if I had to make a guess, I would say yes. There are a lot.
Do you like to visit historic buildings?
Yeah, I think I do. And although I do not visit them very often, but I think I do have some interest in it, in visiting historic buildings.
What's the most common type of building in your city?
I think it's gonna be skyscraper. I think because I'm living in the capital city of my country, so I would suppose it's kind of more a modern city, so it contains a lot of skyscraper, high buildings.
So let's talk about headphones now. Do you own any headphones?
Yes, I do, and well, technically, I would say I don't, but I do have one to use in at my disposal. It's my brother's one, but he has come to another country, so I inherited his headphone right now.
In what ways are headphones useful?
Well, in my opinion, I don't think there is any way that a headphone can be dangerous or unuseful. So I think in every way will a headphone be useful because it's a technological tech well technical or whatever piece of a piece of device or gadget that helps us to experience a more convenient life.
Are there any negatives or negative things about headphones?
I would say there is, but they are only the minor ones. They're not major ones. For example, I think some of the headphones can be too big for a user, so they might want to change or opt for another one. Yeah, it's just about appearance or other minor reasons, I think.
So I'd like to ask you about face masks. Are face masks comfortable to wear?
Yeah, they are. Well, I don't think I cannot figure out why people hate wearing face masks. In my opinion, they are so trendy and like fashionable, like or they can be used in like for everyone. It's a well, it's it's for everyone. Anyone can own one and wear it whenever they can, and it brings a lot of benefits to people, to users. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on. So I'd like you to describe a historical building you'd like to visit. You're going to have to talk about this for 1 to 2 minutes, and before you start speaking, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you'd like to say, and you can make notes during this time if you wish. Do you understand?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the 1 minute to think about what you'd like to say. Are you able to see the information on YouTube on the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, okay. So let me give you 1 minute to start thinking now.
Okay.
Okay, so remember, I'd like you to describe a historical building you'd like to visit. And you're going to have to talk about that for 1 to 2 minutes. And could you start speaking now, please?
Okay. So, I'm gonna talk about a historic place that I'd like to make I want to revisit to, not the one that will visit anytime soon in the future. Well, the reason why I'm picking just a historic place, a site. It's not a building. It's because I don't know anything rather than this place in my city. So it is called the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, and it is located in the. I think it's the center of the city, the capital city in Vietnam. So, yeah. I think in terms of architecture, I don't think it is really like striking. Like it has a striking architecture or style of decorating compared to other famous popular places in other countries. But it is really a place of great importance to us Vietnamese people because it is the place where we can pay a visit and then pay tribute to this eminent and famous leader of our country who contributed really like basically his whole life to the to the to our country. So yeah, I think that's why I really want to visit it again because well, I haven't visited for a while.
Okay.
Right now.
Thank you. Right. So we were talking about buildings, so let's talk about them in general. Do you think it is good to preserve old buildings?
Well, I do. Obviously, yes, we should. Paying more. Giving more effort into the process of preserving old and the going to run out buildings because first it is really important in the culture of a country or the local place to be specific. And the second thing is that we can be destroying it for to build new modern buildings, but it will not be. I think it can be economically profitable than new buildings because well, people may want to visit old and important things more than new ones.
So you mentioned that it could be more profitable. What are ways of making these historical buildings profitable?
We can be using it. Well, we can be the authority of the local place can be like establishing a new name for it, and like kind of a new method, not method, a new way to take people's money. I mean the ticket, they have to pay it. So they can be collecting tickets of the visitors to pay a visit to the historic buildings, or the historical sites, and then they can be the money can be used for other purposes for the local place. It's very profitable.
Okay. How have building styles changed from the past?
This is a really tough one, because I am not really into architectures, so I don't know much about building styles and stuff. But if I had to make a guess, again, I would say they might. Well, in my country, it's obviously, well, apparently it's really my country really contains well, I mean, was consisted of so like normal and and short buildings. Well, yeah, but now now that the globalization is becoming like stronger than ever, the more overseas investments are pouring into our country, so we're having more tall buildings, skyscrapers.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So I'd like to talk about fizzy drinks now, or soda, okay? Why do many people drink fizzy drinks?
I think the reason why they drink soda or soft drinks so much is because it's just like addictive. I think they taste really good. They are and they are convenient to like just drink. Well, I mean, we can go to a shop and then just pay and then putting a coin into the auto, I forgot the word, the the machine that sells soda drinks to us, and we can like collect it. I mean, put into the money, and then we can get the drink like almost immediately, and they are so convenient that we drink and we like rely on it so much.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of the speaking test. Good. And
Okay.
if I was to say vending machine, would that ring a bell?
Oh,
Yeah, a vending machine, I think is what you...
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, overall, obviously, very, very good. Excellent performance. The main thing is you seem very comfortable in the language, and this is a good thing. Honestly, if you didn't have to take the exam, I would say you'd be very happy living abroad, speaking English every day. There wouldn't be an issue understanding what you're saying. So, if I was being extremely conservative, if I was giving you sort of the low end of the estimate, I would say you're in that 7 to 8 band. But I feel that, you know, that's being very, very conservative. Depends on the day, obviously, and the questions. What I feel you need to just bear in mind is this is an English test, okay? It's not about your knowledge of topics or anything like that. It's just your ability to talk about things in English. So just be prepared to, as you did today, say, I really have no idea, but I think. As long as you can string some ideas together in English, even if they're totally off base, if they're not connected at all, that's perfectly fine, okay? So just...
So did I?
Yeah.
I think, do that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that part 3 was a little bit more challenging for you perhaps today. But that's fine. You clearly said, I don't know much about architecture, but I think. So that's fine. So just going through some great uses of grammar, vocabulary, you're linking things together. Let me pick out a few things. You're talking about headphones being at your disposal, being able to use them. That's really good. You mentioned a mausoleum, which is, again, I'm not an expert on this, but it's a type of tomb or to celebrate the dead, right? So that's all good. If you go back and listen to this, just quite a few times you're struggling with a particular grammar tense. And you're saying things like, when talking about buildings, we can be destroying it, instead of, we could destroy them. We can be establishing ticket offices, something like this. We could establish ticket offices. We can be collecting money. We could collect money. So there's a particular grammar tense where you're adding can be, which is correct, and then using an ing verb. So just look into that, because I heard the same structure about 3 or 4 times, and it's just not the way we would say it. If you're talking about hypothetical situations, possibilities, we could do this. The government could establish this. So just have a listen back when we put these live streams go up within like 24 hours. You can always come back, listen again, and just listen to the part 3 of this. You were saying that a few times, but I still don't think it would take away too much from your score. Okay, I think I might have the Zoom call may have just dropped out. So the other thing I would just say is, so Hadley she's very, very comfortable in the language. She's using a lot of good expressions, and the best thing is she's getting emotional. When she was talking about certain things being trendy, her intonation was really good. She got happy about it. That's a good thing. But one thing I would recommend you guys do not do is to copy native speakers exactly. Native speakers are very, very lazy. So when we say I'm gonna go or I wanna have a drink, try to avoid the gonnas, wannas, should haves or should ofs. Often we say should have instead of should have. So try and avoid those native shortcuts, because although you'll hear it every day when you live abroad, in the English exam you want to be better than a native. So you should say I'm going to, I want to, so those kind of contractions should be avoided if possible. But overall, yeah, I think that's a very good performance there. And just keep doing what you're doing, and just perhaps just get a little bit comfortable with some of these these odd topics that come up. So I chose fizzy drinks. This is the sort of thing they could talk about in the IELTS. They love to talk about strange things. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to put my Zoom back on. So we're going to have I'm going to restart the Zoom call. So the same meeting, you should be able to join it, and we'll see if we can get one other person on. So, yeah. So I'm going to launch the same meeting. And, yeah, so it's the same information here that we've got. So you can find it in the chat, or if you come to the description, it's exactly the same. So if you are waiting your turn, feel free to come and join me. And we'll fit in a couple more people. We'll see, we can do a little bit of practice, and perhaps if we have anyone who's not ever done a speaking test with us before, perhaps we'll go through the whole thing. So Naz, I just want to confirm what I said. It's not that we shouldn't use contractions. It's the speaking test, you know, it is very much informal English. So you want to avoid saying I cannot do that. Naturally, a native would say I can't do that. In the British accent or in American accent, I can't do that. But there are certain lazy things that natives do. And the example was, I'm gonna go. I wanna have a drink. I should have said I was sorry. So there's native level mistakes. And you want to avoid those kind of things. Just because it is an English exam, and those things are just wrong, really. But in real life, when you guys are studying or working abroad, you can say whatever you want. We still understand you. That's the beauty of English. You can make 1,000 mistakes and we can still understand you. It's not like other languages where, like in French, if you make one tiny pronunciation error, they refuse to understand what you're saying. So, right. Well, in that case, let's get, I think we've got Raghav waiting. Let's do a little bit of practice with Raghav. And we'll go through a couple of questions. And then if anyone else is still interested, I have got a couple of these extra exams. See if the audio works.
Hello.
Hello, how are you today?
Fine, sir, fine.
Excellent. So, if it's okay with you, perhaps we can do some practice for certain parts of the test.
Okay, sir.
So what are you feeling like today?
Part 3.
Some part 3 questions. Okay.
Yes.
So let's do that, and I'll try and give you some good follow-up questions, okay? So let me go. We'll do the part 3 here. Okay. So let's talk about buildings in general.
Okay, sir.
What do the cities we live in say about our society?
Can you, sir, again repeat the question?
Yeah.
Sir,
What do the cities we live in say about our society?
basically, it's a tough question to answer, but cities tells about the culture and modernization, contemporary style, what the trend is going on nowadays. So they reflect nowadays they reflect the hustle bustle of the city life, and frankly speaking, it is everybody is busy with that, and they also tell us about the measures what we need in future for to protect the environment around us and to curb these issues in the future.
Are you seeing a very big transformation in the layout of cities in India at the moment?
Yes, sir. There is a lot of buildings being constructed in India, especially in metro cities, big cities, and in building of infrastructures like subways and building of these metros for transportations for proper to commute properly, and skyscrapers and huge buildings are being made in cities, big cities, especially metro cities in India.
Who should pay for buildings such as hospitals?
So definitely government because is one of the best option, and if the public can also contribute, they are contributing by paying taxes, and government should instead of wasting monies on from my point of view, wasting money on unnecessary building of these statues or something like to pay homage to some person or something, statues like they should concentrate on hospitals, as in this pandemic situation in my country there was a lot of shortage of oxygen, so government should take strict and stringent measures to fulfill this
So
issue.
you mentioned that the government should pay for these hospitals.
Yes.
How much influence should the general public have in the running of the hospitals? How much say they should have?
General public, as far as I know, sir, they are contributing as by paying the taxes, and they should also take initiative if they can, like general public, if they can to volunteer, or they can. It's a tough question to answer, but still, sir, they can make contribution if they can to volunteer for hospitals.
In what ways might buildings change in the future?
Buildings in future, as due to shortage of this population explosion is going on, and there will be shortage of land, so it's changing towards taller buildings instead of detached or a person having an individual house. They are going towards apartments, and usually in my city also and in my country, tall buildings are being constructed, so they are definitely going towards apartment style of living.
Okay, so you mentioned a shift in the type of accommodation. What impact does this have on community spirit?
Basically, sir, it leads to a nuclear family, and every family is living independently. They want independent. So community, there is a less camaraderie between the people, and they are not communicative. They are kind of reticent, and they don't. If they are called or they want to gather on a purpose, they come, but they don't volunteer, or there is a less communication in this type of society.
Okay, so I'd like to talk to you about fire.
Okay.
How has fire influenced humanity?
Fire, as far as I know, sir, there is a kind of bushfire, I can say. It was catastrophic in Australia a few months back. So there was a lot of wildlife was destroyed, and animals and habitat was destroyed. I just came to know on BBC News. So fires can be dangerous also, and this is a kind of fires. And in urban area, fires can also take place. And and preventive measures can be taken to get rid of these.
Okay. So, how can devastating forest fires be prevented?
By forest fire can be by I'm not able to gather the point. There is a kind of path is made to prevent the spread of this fire. I don't know the terminology of that, but there is their greater purpose for the bushes are there is a line is made so that purposely they destroy these bushes, and these environmentalist specialists who deals with fires, they usually prevent them, and they are deputed by the government of the local governments.
How big a part does education play in preventing forest fires?
Education, yes, definitely plays an important part. For example, after the wheat or maize is just they are just cultivated and they are just taken to stores. The people purposely go for they put fire on that left part of the wheat or maize, and so it creates a lot of pollution in my country. So government is taking initiative to educate people around not to create these fires on the fields. And as far as these are agriculture measures which can be taken, and forest fires can be also there can be helpline for communicating the authorities about this fire.
Okay, excellent, good. So, as always, we know that you, Raghav, you just have excellent vocabulary. You bring it out all the time. I liked how you used hustle and bustle, a great idiom. You used it in exactly the right way, the right context. You're using some very fancy grammar. So you said buildings being constructed, at the moment. That's great use of passive there, and using the ing verb. Excellent. So to pay homage, really good. Nuclear family. Just watch out. The only I'm always looking for errors because you don't make too many. So when I find one, I write it down. You just mentioned spending monies. Now, there is a word, you can say monies in English, but we don't say it that often. Okay. So in this context, it would have been spending money. But to be honest, you're not making many errors here. Okay. You didn't know a certain word. You're trying to describe how to prevent. The phrase is a fire break. A fire break. Okay. But you paraphrased it. You explained what it was. And that is just as good. So I don't think that would actually be an issue. So if you don't know a word, do what Raghav did. Explain the word. So it's really good. So perhaps the only thing that you really could do, as we've mentioned before, is it's the pronunciation. It's just working on that a little bit, and that's going to really push up your score. But overall, you're doing very well as always. I love to hear what else did you say? Reticent. I don't even use that word. That's really good. Excellent.
Yes, my father uses it, so I.
No, it's perfect. Really,
he's
really.
using often.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, you're using these really nice high-level vocabulary in exactly the right context. That's the perfect thing.
Yes.
So you're doing an excellent job. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, and Yeah, just there's a comment that Naz has left. So we mentioned if you want to improve your accent, let's say your pronunciation, if possible, you try and talk like the how a native would speak your own language.
Native.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna got a bit of background sound just coming in there, Rekhav. So I'm just gonna mute you. But yeah, so I don't know how easy this is for other people. I asked my wife when Westerners or foreigners speak Chinese Mandarin, can she tell the difference between the nationalities? She said no, everyone sounds the same. But certainly in English, we know how different people like French, Spanish, Indian, for example, how people sound, because a lot more people speak English perhaps. But it really is a way to do it. So I mean, even in French I can do it. I can do a French accent quite well, and then when I change into French, if I really want to try and do the accent well, that's what I would do. So if someone doesn't speak, if you don't know what an English or an American, Australian would sound like speaking your language, you've just got to spend a lot of time listening to native speakers and trying to copy them, okay? And it's not that you have to sound like me. It's just you want to try and take the rhythms of the language that we have, and you're trying to copy those, because that is what this exam's about. If band 9 is the target, the closer you can sound like me, the closer you are to that target, and it goes down from there. So go and watch native level TV, get subtitles in your own language if possible, so that you understand exactly what's being said, and then you just take a sentence and you practice it. This is why in the classes, in our normal classes, Michael and I, we do what's called model and drill. So I say a sentence, then I get my students to say the sentence as well, and I correct them if necessary. It's boring, but the more you do it, the closer you are to getting the pronunciation and everything. And when I was learning a language, this is what I had to do as well. I had my friends, they would always tell me, instead of saying possibility, I have to say possibilité, and really changing the right accent. So so Rekhav, you're doing really, really well with everything, and if you wanted to improve, pronunciation would be one of the areas you could improve quite quickly, and that would just smash your score right through the roof, in my opinion. Okay, so great. So looking at the time, I think we're going to knock it on the head today. Knock it on the head, call it a day to end the live stream. But if you have anything that you would like us to cover, Michael and I, we are planning the next syllabus of videos. We're planning what's going to be coming up in the future. We're always trying to come up with useful videos, things that you would like to learn. We do have a lot of videos already that we've filmed, but if there's anything that you are dying to practice, anything you would like to see in the live streams or in our regular videos, just feel free to leave a comment. You can leave a comment in the live chat, or you can come and leave a comment on any of our past videos. For example, we had Michael doing some vocabulary. Just leave a message here for us. We do read all of the comments, and we usually reply to all of them as well. And you just feel free to leave your ideas there. That'd be great. But I will be back tomorrow, I believe. I think it's my shift tomorrow. Yep. So Saturday, I'll be back at 6 p.m. I'll try and be raring to go. So I will see everyone tomorrow. Thanks very much for all the students that joined us. You guys are amazing. This wouldn't happen without you jumping on the Zooms and practicing. So thank you for your help,